So my guilty pleasure for a long time now has been YouTube boxing. I started watching with KSI and Joe Weller and watched just about any YouTube boxing event up until the last couple months. At first, it was actually super exciting. You get to watch two YouTubers who have beef with each other, duke it out, and there's a clear winner. To a lot of people, Logan Paul versus KSI is still one of the biggest YouTube successful events today. But over the last year, I feel like things have really started to die off and a lot of the hype has just completely disappeared. Now, I'm not necessarily a professional when it comes to any of this, but I do have two reasons why I think this is the case. And it's not one of those, I've been a pro boxer for 13 years and the reason why KSI's form is terrible. I think for a lot of YouTubers, it's probably difficult because the skill level of YouTube boxing is starting to reach a point now where you really have to dedicate your full life to it. At the beginning, because everybody was trash and nobody knew what they were doing, I think it was really easy to do content creation, promotion, do all the tweeting and all the nonsense like that at the same time as training. But over the last couple of years, because the skill gap has been just rising and rising, one, it's harder for new people to come into the scene without being called out by somebody with way more experience than them. But also on top of that, I feel like you have to dedicate more of your life to it. You have to go completely in, and you basically have to live the life of a professional boxer. But the reason why it kind of falls short is because, let's be honest, they're not that good. Now, me personally, I've never minded that. I kind of like watching trash boxing, but I think that the core problem is that there's just not enough promotion going on from the actual content creators themselves. And then you're just kind of left with two spoiled 20-year-olds punching each other for like 200,000 viewers. And so I think out of that desperation of trying to get interest back into the sport, you have a lot of people that are trying to create fake beef and drama in order to bring the audience back. Like, if you look back at the old KSI versus Logan Paul events, I think that even though a lot of people perceived it as like fake and definitely 100% was played up, you could tell that there was a certain energy to the whole thing. There was a certain ego involved that just felt different from what it is now. You have a lot of influencers online literally just calling out everybody down the list because they so badly want to get on like a Misfits card or something. But I think it's so perceived as fake, and it takes away a lot of the genuineness that came from the fact that it was influencers in the first place. And so you're kind of left with this, what appears to be beef, but at the same time, you know that it's so just put on for the camera that nobody really buys it, or nobody really feels the tension of it like you used to in the past. You don't even have to have beef to begin with. Like, I thought the first Creator Clash event was actually pretty interesting without using all of those gimmicks. But even with Creator Clash, I felt the same thing again, where they're not really promoting, they're not really doing things to continue to keep their audience excited just for their own content in general as well, to the point where when the event came, I wasn't that interested in watching it. I'd rather just log on to Twitter after and kind of see who won, maybe see a few punches thrown back and forth and be like, okay, cool, that's how that went, and go on to the next. It's going to be difficult to get out of this because I feel like in the beginning when there's that interest, it's a lot easier than when you lose it and you have to basically reignite people's passion for something. You can't really create that fire and energy they had in the very beginning when everything felt so real and raw. And now you have so little people to choose from at this point that they're picking people with like 300 followers. And then they're going to get on the next card and it's going to be like, oh, they're promoting the fight. They're calling out this guy. They're calling out that guy. And nobody cares. Anyways, I don't really have too much else to say. I'll leave it at that. Thanks.